Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and we are taking a look today at the latest on the Arizona Coyotes. A lot of different names being thrown in the rumor mill from Arizona. Obviously, the big one being Jakob Chychrun, but we have a couple of other guys. Updates on Lawson Krause, Clayton Keller, even Phil Kessel. We'll be going over all of that today. So the first report here is from Craig Morgan. Coyotes general manager Bill Armstrong said they tried to sign Nick Ritchie this summer, but lost out. As for the choice of picks, if the third round looks strong in 2023, they'll go that route. Otherwise, they'll wait for the 2025 second round pick. That is obviously going back to the trade they made last week with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Nick Ritchie for Ilya Lyubushkin and a defenseman, I'm pretty sure. The other guy ended up going right on waivers and is now a member of the Sharks. So that's the latest there. Going back to the trade last week. Looking ahead, what are some of the depth guys? Specifically, right now, Travis Boyd. I remember Travis Boyd. He was a captain, I think, of the Hershey Bears. That's the only way I know. They have a couple of former Hershey Bears. They have Liam O'Brien, Travis Boyd. So that's kind of interesting. But this is from David Pagnotta. The Wild, Lightning, and Capitals have been linked to forward Travis Boyd. Now, I think this is kind of the market when you're looking at teams like Tampa and Washington. They aren't looking to go big game hunting. They're not looking for the big names out there at the deadline. They're looking for some of these guys like Kalle Yarncrocs, like Jared McCanns, and guys like Travis Boyd. Travis Boyd has quietly done quite well with the Coyotes and has earned the right to maybe go chase a cup this year. So that's pretty exciting for Travis Boyd. And Minnesota's in the race, obviously, because of center depth. Minnesota Wild would definitely like to do that, so I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in Minnesota as well. So now we heard more on the Phil Kessel situation, so we got some clarity to that this week. We haven't talked about him very much here recently. Again, from Craig Morgan, the Coyotes' asking price for Kessel has been a second-round pick, but that offer has not materialized. They may have to settle for a third. He's asked for a trade at the start of the season, remember that? And will probably not be re-signing in Arizona, which ultimately leads us to the conclusion that we will see Kessel traded at some point here in the next month. It's only a matter of time, as again, we've been talking about this since training camp, really, as Phil Kessel never really was a fit with the Coyotes this year. It's kind of a shame that he's been kind of stuck there this year. But maybe this ends up being a feel-good story. He goes to a team like Minnesota, Calgary, wherever he ends up going, and he ends up being a critical piece to maybe a good playoff run. So I think that would be some good news there for Phil Kessel. But that's definitely something that we will keep you up to date on. Now, this is some more interesting stuff here from Elliot Friedman. In terms of some of their other guys, we haven't really been talking as much about. Coyotes forwards Christian Fischer and Johan Larsson have gained trade interest. Listen, I've been a big fan of Christian Dvorak and Christian Fischer in Arizona. Dvorak has been mitigating results in Montreal, but let's be honest, they've just been a bad team in general. But I like Christian Fischer as well. I think Christian Fischer could be an addition maybe to a team like the New Jersey Devils or the Pittsburgh Penguins on the East Coast, where he just fits that situation. I could see him being a good middle six, maybe even at, reaching high-end potential, maybe a top six, like a second-line winger. Christian Fischer could fit that bill. And I think he's a guy that he needs a change of scenery. Like a lot of these guys in Arizona, it's been a rough couple of years. I could see Fischer being another guy at the deadline that could generate some interest. He will be a restricted free agent this summer. So now we get back to number 6 on the Coyotes, and that is Jakob Chychrun and the Chychrun sweepstakes update. So we could basically do this every week, but we're hearing more stuff again about Jakob Chychrun. This is coming from Elliot Friedman on the NHL Network. A number of teams are still in on Jakob Chychrun. The Los Angeles Kings back in the conversation, as it looked like they may have pulled out a couple weeks ago. They are back in the conversation. The St. Louis Blues have been a front runner for a while now. A lot of people have had him tied there. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers, which is his home. Sure, there's more. Arizona has got a few other players out there. Like I already mentioned, Johan Larsson, Ilya Lyubushkin, who has since been traded to Toronto, Phil Kessel, and Christian Fisher. We already talked about some of those guys. The Arizona Coyotes have pulled back on the idea of trading Lawson Crouse. And there was certainly some interest in him from playoff and non-playoff teams. I think Crouse is he's a good big body player, and I'm not terribly shocked that the Coyotes have pulled him off the market. I think they like what he's done. He signed a 2 or 3 year deal, so you might as well keep him for a little bit longer. And that's the kind of guy they can build this team around. I like Lawson Crouse, and I think it's interesting the Coyotes are deciding to keep him. Back to the Jakob Chychrun situation. Going back to David Pagnotta, a potential move to Los Angeles for Jakob Chychrun is, in quote, a strong possibility. I think a lot of Kings fans were very much fantasizing of that idea, and I think that is a good fit. I could see Chychrun in the black and silver up there in LA. I think he fits the mold of what they're trying to get, right? He fits that Drew Doughty, Mikey Anderson, gritty, but also, good defenseman. It's going to come at a price, though. And the Coyotes are definitely interested in some of their players, like Gabe Vilardi, Alex Turcotte, who I don't think they're looking to trade. But those types of guys, they're going to be in that realm of what the Coyotes are looking in return for Jakob Chychrun. So on the Coyotes' no-trade list is Karel Vejmelka, who is the goaltender, Clayton Keller, Lawson Crouse, Shane Gostisbehere, likely to be moved at the next trade deadline. That's what they're saying here from Craig Morgan, Nick Schmaltz, and Giannis Moser. So those are the guys that are on the no-trade list for the Coyotes. Again, everybody's got a price, but they're not actively moving those guys. That's not their focus going into this deadline. So that's the latest there. Again, all from Craig Morgan. I think the Coyotes, again, it's frustrating, but they're selling. And I think with the direction of this whole arena situation, they're not going to be able to really draw. They're not going to get revenue, truthfully. That's really what this comes down to. So even if they had a great team, you're not even going to be able to fill a 15 or 16,000 seat arena. So it's almost like, what's the point? You might as well sell out. You might as well just be bad, get really high-end draft picks, and develop those guys. And eventually, once you get to your new arena in Tempe, then you've got your situation set up, and that's it, right? And then you could start to go acquire guys in free agency, have those guys that you drafted start to come into the NHL, and move forward from there. But there's still a lot of questions, lingering questions about that arena situation. I think a lot of guys are just like, I don't want to sign here long term because there's no legitimate stability. And that's really the biggest thing the Coyotes have to deal with right now, is even guys that are in the organization that maybe like playing in Arizona, playing in the desert, there's just no stability. And who knows, in the next 5 years, they could be in Houston, they could be in Kansas City, they could be in Hamilton, they could be in Quebec. There's a lot of uncertainty, even though you're signing that 8-year contract. I think a lot of guys just, quite frankly, just don't want to sign up for that. So guys, that is it for today's video. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of some of these guys on the trade market? If you're a non-Coyotes fan, what are some of the names you like out there? Do you like Travis Boyd? Do you obviously Jakob Chychrun? Christian Fisher? Let me know what you guys think down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.